I can't seem to find my toothbrush, so I'll pick one up when I go out today. Other than that, I'm in good shape.
Hey guys, welcome to Cinema Sit-Down on KMOS. My name's Nick DiStefano and I'm going to be the host today. We're going to just discuss a little bit about the movie that I picked, Home Alone. Basically, it's just kind of a short summary of, this kid and their family. They were together and then they basically ditched the kid as they were going to Paris, and he's pretty much home alone, and he's trying to come up with all sorts of ways to pretty much deal with that situation. So first off, before we get started, let me introduce our guests over here. Please state your names, everybody.
Hi, I'm Brendan Barnes, and happy to be here.
I'm Cassie Lucier, again. Good to see you.
I'm Ben Avery.
I'm Riley Windorf.
Okay, so for this week's episode of Cinema Sit Down, I know that, it's kind of like a Halloween theme, and, you guys could probably argue that this movie that I chose was more of a Christmas theme, but since it was my turn, I just wanted to pick something, especially, on Mondays, those can be kind of dreary days, just something kind of comical and entertaining for everybody. One thing I got out of this movie, it was kind of pretty crazy because towards the beginning, this guy, the neighbor that appeared in the scene, he was shoveling, salt, and he seemed like a criminal. He didn't really know what was going on and didn't really have a life much ahead of him. But then towards the end, he was almost like, I almost think of him as the Good Samaritan. He saved Kevin from being attacked by the burglars. Potentially could have been life-saving. What do you guys think about that and any other parts of the film?
Old Man Marley was definitely the MVP. Kevin did a lot, but Old Man Marley, he came in clutch. So, never distrust a shovel.
Shovels are useful. Hit people.
When Kevin was watching the movie, when he was watching the movie that went to keep the change, you filthy animal, when he ate the big bowl of food, like junk food, that reminded me of Elf eating the pasta and spaghetti with syrup and M&Ms.
It was kind of funny too, because when the bad guys came in, the so-called police, because that guy was a police officer, and we legitimately thought that he might have been a police officer, especially if you aren't familiar with the film. But now he's just driving in this plumbing company car, and he's just a burglar. And I think it was pretty cool how when those burglars were knocking at the door, Kevin really tricked them into thinking that people were actually home, even though it was just Kevin that was home. Those burglars actually thought something was up, even though it was from the movie, as we saw in the VCR player. It was Angels with Filthy Souls, or Dirty Souls, I believe. But I just thought that was really in the movie, in that film, the burglars thought were actual people living there, but in reality, I think Kevin was just trying to trick them. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Kevin's pretty smart.
Yeah.
For an 8-year-old.
For an 8-year-old.
Going to the store, stealing money.
Setting up those traps.
Going to church by himself. Brave.
Knowing how
burglars.
to skate or ski on the ice.
Yeah.
He was able to escape the dentist or the store or wherever when he stole the toothbrush and the cop couldn't even stop him.
Yeah, he outran a cop.
He did.
That was pretty crazy.
He should have been out.
Yeah, he should have got him for sure, but that's okay.
And I have two more analyses.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, one of my analysis, I have two, but one, I can't think of the other one right now, but one of my analysis is just when he came back from the grocery store walking in snow. That reminded me of what I sometimes do at my house. I just go to the grocery store, maybe get a Bolthouse drink, then drink it on my way back.
Well, hopefully you don't have bags full of them and then they fall out of the bags.
No, that's happened to me many times. Yeah. It is always a travesty when it happens, because I'm more curious how we got all that stuff home.
See the guy in the yellow jacket over there? by the budget's on, he's gonna rent us a nice big van, and we're gonna drive to Milwaukee. Now, I heard you had some problems. You're getting to Chicago to see your kid or something?
My son, we left and he's there.
Oh, jeez. If you have to get to Chicago, we'd gladly drive you. It's on the way to Milwaukee.
I thought that was very nice. He offered to take her home.
I thought John Candy kind of had a thing for Mrs. McAllister, like initially, where he's like, "Hey, I'll help you out." I think it's a little weird that you're just like, "Yeah, I'll stop in Chicago as I'm driving all the way to Milwaukee," because Chicago is definitely not on the way.
You know, you bring up a good point too. I'll backtrack on that. I think you bring up a good point because he starts talking to her about like everything that he's intrigued with and like just kind of a little bit about himself. And it's like, John, like she's trying to get home to see her kid. Like she appreciates the gesture and everything, but she couldn't give a rat's butt about you and your polka just to be appropriate here.
Well, he is the polka king, so
exactly.
Of the Midwest.
Of the Midwest.
We shouldn't forget that part.
That's true.
That's important.
To clarify.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know Christmas is about offering to give rides and all that.
I don't think that's what
Like
Christmas is
offering
about.
to be kind and nice.
Be kind, okay.
Yeah, but I remember in the second grade I learned about stranger danger.
I can tell you that. Why not? Because you're a stranger.
Gosh, what do you guys think though about the whole like taking a trip to Paris and forgetting about your son? Like that's almost just unreal.
I mean, if you have 12 kids, that makes sense because you miscount and.
Well, you see, the problem was too the girl that counted. She literally counted the
neighbor
boy that was like
messing
around, like asking the drivers questions and.
The
And always
neighbor
count
kid
on
who went to
ginger
Florida.
store and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, that kind of goes along with the whole, like, the entire movie being kind of completely unrealistic. Because an 8-year-old defending a house from two
grown men.
For one, the grown men, I don't care how many people on the street. Old Marley was over there and he's been shoveling all day. He would have noticed this plumber's going to every single house, coming out with stuff, and called the cops. Like that movie shouldn't have got as far as it did. But
you think it should have occurred sooner, that situation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The neighbor also didn't realize that he was home by himself. He was just at church by himself. He wasn't like, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, it's
sus.
kind of a weird. It really is a little sus. It's kind of a weird like setting area. You know, I agree. It should have occurred sooner. You know, you've been waiting all this time. You know, it's like, oh man, is Kevin and old man Marley? Are they gonna like try to cross paths? But they end up doing it at a church where the granddaughter's singing and they're just trying to, talk and Kevin's in an uncomfortable state as I would be too. I mean, if you're interacted by somebody, who's like, you don't really know much about them and then they approach you at church, like, it's like, how do you respond? And then like trying to hear his side of the story, you almost wonder if he's telling the truth just to, get on good terms with Kevin, or you just don't know.
I'll say old Marley's story is the most compelling in this movie because it's the most
very
heartfelt
sad.
And it's the most real.
Yeah.
Like, that's the realest part about this movie because people stop talking to each other for stupid reasons.
That's a very good point, and I'll piggyback off that first, and then Ben, you can have the floor. But yeah, it's scary, that's that issue had to happen, with him and his son, and you're right, Brendan. It's definitely common, and you just hope things can get better. Ben.
Nick.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yes, I would like to turn it to. All right, so this is obviously
this
popular.
is perfect for you to chime in. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've heard this theory that Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone is actually Jigsaw, but a younger version. And so basically everything he learns in Home Alone and Home Alone 2 is what he then takes to his adult life of being Jigsaw.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
I've literally in my life never heard that.
Get on Reddit. It's the best place on earth.
You're telling me Jigsaw, like the old man, is Macaulay Culkin?
Is Macaulay Culkin.
It's Kevin McAllister, not Macaulay Culkin. Kevin McAllister.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Where's
Okay,
the
well-
proof, Riley? Literally, what proof do you have of this?
And if it's in the pudding, where's the pudding?
Yeah, for real.
I mean, I'm just saying I saw it on the internet, but also
So
like,
it's
So
gotta-
we're
it's
supposed to
gotta be
believe
true.
that it's true.
well, obviously,
Don't
it's on the
believe everything
internet.
you see on the internet.
Why not?
But hey, if you're really intrigued, you might as well check out Reddit. Get with Riley
go on
after this
Reddit.
production.
Yes.
for
Do
more
not
on
go
Reddit.
on Reddit. Don't start going on Reddit.
I tell you what, though, back to what Cassidy said, Kevin is pretty dang smart for an 8-year-old. I mean, he literally survived.
I would have died.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would have too. I mean, just the creativity and, just thinking that he was able to ensue to just keep himself safe, like whether it's, putting tar on steps, putting like fire on a doorknob, like
Heating up the doorknob to make
yeah,
it.
Making a homemade zip line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
forget the fact that he knew exactly when they were going to come, and he could set up call the police
Yeah.
and set up a trap and stop it
Why
from
didn't he
ever
call
happening.
the police from the beginning? That's what I want to know.
Because it's a movie.
Nah, true.
And how did he know when to have a gun?
Also, yeah, why didn't
that
the robbers have a gun? Like, I'm just saying, you
that
knew
would
this
have made
kid
it
was here,
PG-13.
and then you could have just like, I'm just saying,
would have been
would
too
scare
much.
a kid for life.
That's very
Sure.
true.
But breaking and entering,
Illegal.
and petty theft,
Illegal.
and probably no, it's probably not grand larceny at this point. They probably didn't steal enough for it to be grand
Did you get
larceny.
assault of a minor in there?
Yeah, there's like at least 4 to 5
So
illegal
remember
things
when
happening.
Kevin ordered the cheese pizza and where he played the movie and yeah, well, if he played the movie and had gunshots, couldn't he have gotten the pizza for free instead of leaving $12 on the step?
But then that'd be wrong.
yeah.
Then he'd be stealing.
And then he would
Stealing
get
is wrong.
arrested. And you certainly don't want that to happen when nobody's home, and then your parents hear, "Oh, yeah, my son's in jail."
Well,
Great.
Well, isn't that better than stealing? Actually, no, nothing's better than going to jail.
All right, well.
But he stole his brother's money.
Yeah, it's.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But then Buzz got mad at him for.
Destroying
He
his-
said,
his
"Kevin,
shelves."
what did you do to my room?"
Well, Buzz is just arrogant, in my opinion.
I wonder
but
what happened to that tarantula. Like,
we
just
may
escaped.
we may never know. But guys, I've been really impressed hearing your guys' thoughts. I will say before we wrap up, I feel like this theme is definitely different, compared to the last few weeks of movies that we've seen, and I just wanted to kind of spruce things up and make it enjoyable. So it seems like we all enjoyed it. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That's all the time we have for today on Cinema Sit Down. We'll be back next week. And Ben Avery, do you have anything to say?
Actually, no. The Chiefs. Go Chiefs.
I had to ask that because he had his Chiefs jersey on. So, all right, guys, and we know that Ben's favorite color is green. So we'll see you guys next time here.
Peace.
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 Fairy Sisters.
We are the Fairy Sisters.